Okay. And we're live. Such a prepared thing I got going on. Okay. Oh, you're kidding. There we go. The fuck, man? Alright. Screw that. Alright. Yeah, I've had enough of this crap. All right. Hey, Kevin Ball, what's going on? A couple people are trickling in now. Here's my dog Marvin. How you doing, buddy? Okay. Mm. Glad you could catch a stream. Well, I'm glad I could put on a stream this morning. Typically, I do a stream Sunday mornings unless they decide not to go to church. And if they decide not to go to church, then I usually either delay the stream later or I don't do one at all. But this morning they're doing their thing. So I'm free to do mine. I'm going to work on this habit drawing here. Daniel Goodwin, how are you doing this morning, man? Mm. Uh, any shading that was unrealistic just to make it look cool. It was unrealistic, but it was just there for effect. Well, I'm an inker, so that's kind of all I do. Especially in the image age forward, like you're basically there to highlight the penciler and all. Uh, it really depends upon how much the penciler will allow me to do. Like if you've got a penciler that's a real stickler about, I want you to stick with exactly what I have. Uh, I've got it worked out pretty thoroughly, and I know what I want, and I put it down there on the page. And I just want you to follow that. I respect that, but that's not the type of work I prefer to do. I prefer it where it's a little more open to input at the very least, or and then you've got people like Rob that are just like, well, hey, man, whatever you think needs to happen, do that. Um, and that's when I have the most fun, I think. And I definitely, Rob will tell you that I put in things. I'll tweak the anatomy in spots. I will add extra graduated tones that weren't in the pencils if I have the leeway to do so. Then yeah, I usually will take some liberties if I see a spot where I feel like I can bring something to it. Okay, this light is killing me. I cannot see with this damn thing on. Okay. You guys probably can't see as well with it off. Well, I wouldn't, I don't know if I would say if it's 100% visible and thought out all the time. It varies from penciler to penciler. Um, but oh, there we go. Sorry. I know that's awful, but it's like shining against the paper so hard I can't even see the thing. Burns my eyes out real fast. It's not much better, honestly. But oh well. Yeah, see, that's no better. I don't think dimmer's the way to go. I thought so for a moment. Sorry. I've gotten so spoiled to working digitally where I can flip this all different directions and you don't have to worry about wet ink, smearing, smudging. None of those are concerns. Six people in here now. Cool. Welcome, welcome. I know it's not the most exciting live stream on YouTube, but it's fun. Good morning, Rob. How you doing? I don't know, Kevin. It's not something I give too much thought to. It's sort of like I don't know. The best comparison I can give to it is it's like training to fight or martial arts, or it's always somebody bigger, somebody badder that can kick your ass out there. Um, and that's just the way it is. Uh, Especially when it comes to something like art, because it's in the eye of the beholder anyway. What's one man's trash is another man's treasure, and you know, master level. See, I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what that is. I can think of some guys that to me have met master level. I am not on that list. You know, some guys I go back and look at their early work and I'm like, man, he was so much better than I gave him credit for at the time. No, I will not mention any names. So it just depends on what you're looking for at any given moment when it comes to art. Something you either respond to or you don't. And that can change over time too. There's stuff that absolutely knocked me out when I was like 12, 13. And now I look at it and I'm, nah, not so much. Same with music. I would go back and listen to some of that stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I really enjoyed this. I did. Why? It's awful. So, no, I just realized I was sitting here thinking about it and I was like, I realized, like, geez, I was telling Rob and some other people about this Joe Kubert book, and I don't think I pulled it out and showed it off. So, think in a second here, we're going to put this aside and look at some of that. I'm going to put this aside for a moment because I wanted to look over this Joe Kubert book. Um, I don't know if I pulled any of this out and showed it to you guys before. Joe Kubert doing Western stuff. Ah, big loud clack. I'm not going to go through every page. I'll flip through a little bit of it. I'll hold up the camera here and there. Super solid stuff all around. The staging, the way he's got everything set up, the way he has people standing so that it gives him proper compositions that he wants. It's just rock solid from A to Z. You cannot ask for my money. Honestly, and no disrespect to anyone, but for my money, it shouldn't have been King Kirby. It should have been King Kubert. Just yeah, wow, rock solid stuff. So I would never dare to do rain like that. It's just something he just like throws down. You know, I've literally seen film clips on YouTube of Joe Kubert doing stuff that looks similar to this in terms of quality level, where he's not using a pencil at all. It's straight to ink. He's used his mind to project it onto the page, and then he just inks it. Crazy. Great stuff. Just superb work. I think if I had to rank one of the best books that I've gotten this year for my collection, this would be in the running. I don't know. I've gotten some nice books this year. Some good stuff's come out. Everything that Kubert does, in my opinion, is just wow. I love that. Just that iconic cowboy, the way he lays in the shadows. It's very Kubert, but so appropriate for what he's trying to do at the same time. He stays within the boundaries of his own style, and it works for everything. I wonder. I wonder if that's. I'm surely he has somebody to cut these zips for him. He's not cutting that zip himself. It's just being placed under his direction, most likely. I'm guessing. You never know, too. There's some of those guys that have to control every element of their page, and wow, just all the drama that's in her eyes in this shot. Grim determination going on in his face. This is Joe Kubert's Tex, The Lonesome Rider. Now, this particular version is the SAF Comics version. Dark Horse has also published a color version of it. But I like looking at work in black and white. And it wasn't Joe Kubert's colors. So I was like, well, if it was his colors or done under his direction and, by his studio or whatever, maybe. But uh, I wasn't impressed with the color version. I would rather have this black and white. All the atmosphere that you could do with just pen and brush, man. And this stuff reads too. I mean, I'm gonna put it way down here, and it's small on the screen for you guys, but it all still reads. You can still make out what the hell everything is because the black's is so strong. I don't know, looking at it on the camera. Yes, Kevin Ball, straight to brush and pen with no pencils. You can look at it. It's on YouTube. It's a sketch, him doing a sketch of Hawkman or something for charity. It's him and John Romita Sr. from several years ago. I don't know if it's still on YouTube or not, but yeah, he was doing it for some sort of charity. I forget what the cause was, but they were sitting there together, and they asked Hubert to do a drawing for the charity, and he knocked out this Hawkman like it was there in pencil already, and it was a blank sheet of paper. There was nothing on it. See, now to me, that is master level. Somebody like Hubert that could do something like that. Yeah, to me, I'm with you, Kevin Ball. That's witchcraft. Absolutely. No sketch, no nothing, straight to ink. Yeah, I don't know how the hell you do that. Now I can sketch in ink, but I don't get finished level stuff usually. Depends on what I'm trying to do. If I'm doing very silhouette stuff like that, I can pick up a brush and go into some of that kind of thing because the silhouette allows you to fake a lot, which is not to say that Joe Kubert is. I'm sure it's all very well planned in the pencil stage. Now he's planned to come black it in, mind you, here, but I'm sure that's all roughed in. I'm sure he's making sure that the guy is standing on the ground. You know, he's making sure it works well enough before he goes in and inks. So it's not just a matter of sitting down with a brush and faking it. The better you know what you're doing it, the better your faking it works. Wow, I just love that. Try to get let me see if I can. All right, I'm going to torture you guys just a little bit. There we go. That way I'm not getting such a weird angle. Trying to show you guys this stuff. Anyway, this book is 240 pages, and like I said, Dark Horse does a hardbound version of it too. It's in color. Wow, I love that. Absolutely recommended. Um, I don't want to give away the whole book. Pardon this while old men get thirsty. Let's see, I got that. Let's see, I booked that. I was going to show off some of the stuff I got recently. Tales of Terror by Eduardo Russo. I don't know if you guys are familiar with his stuff or not. Really strong blacks in his work too, kind of a cross between Frank Miller and Mignola. Lots of gloss on these pages. Very Sin City esque type of work. Um, Again, anytime I can get work in black and white rather than color, I'm probably going to buy it. Because when I don't, I get stuff like, let me reach over and grab this thing. Hang on just a second. When I don't, I wind up getting stuff like this thing. Uh, no, A dude put on a $1 sale where you could get his book for $1. And I was like, huh, you see basically just paying shipping. But yeah, this is your boy Zach's book. And I got it based upon looking at the black and white artwork, which there's a ton of rendering and stuff going on in this face that you cannot see past the color because the colors are so absolutely oversaturated. It absolutely wipes out. I mean, this guy's put in a lot of details. You're getting some glare. Let's kill the light. Maybe we'll get a. Dude's putting in the time on this stuff, but it's so absolutely swallowed up by the color on this book. I mean, there's detail going on in this. It all falls into black, almost. I don't know. Just the way that it looked. Yeah, you feel you should have given the backers a digital black and white version. That wouldn't have hurt my feelings. Honestly, I would rather have a black and white version of this book because the pages that he was showing as it was going along looked great. And then it started going in with the color. And I mean, the colorist is doing what colorists do. And they're doing especially, I don't know. Everybody approaches that in a way I disagree with. See, now I can't get the damn light back on. There we go. Sorry, real professional show here. My apologies. Oh, that's what I'll do. I'll work on this one a damn long to get. And we'll get that sucker finished up. I've only been working on this on camera so far, I think. Maybe I did a little bit. I'm not sure. If it was, it wasn't much. But typically, unless I'm sitting here doing this for you guys on an occasion like this, it's easier for me to just ink digitally. I can flip the image back and forth, work on it either direction, and like I said, you don't have to wait for ink to dry. And but I have found over time that analog ink tends to be more popular with people. People prefer to see me do that. So, first rule of show business: give them what they want, right? So somebody from the last time I did one of these emailed me and told me that they saw me using these pens and went and got them. So Curatalk, it's official. You owe me a kickback. You lousy. No, I'm kidding. Love their stuff. And if it works and it can work for somebody else, that's awesome. Because I know when I was actively working out there, you're always looking for something that's going to work a little better, usually, if you can find it. You sort of get used to the idea nothing's going to be perfect, but I guess that's just a strand of hair. What the hell is that? Damn it. I'm going to leave it to regular. I better look at it on video. Look at it on screen and figure out what the hell it is. Don't trust my eyes. Oh, this printout. That's another reason I prefer to work digitally too. It's not just the undo; it's the ability to zoom in and really be able to see this stuff. You know, I'll be real honest. My vision at age 56 is significantly different than my vision was at age 26 or even 36. So, stopping to read here. Thank you for saying, Dan. I appreciate your comments on Havoc there. Yeah, I think that it's better if actually, what I would like to see in the future is like a version where you can buy your comic and you can customize it, or you can have several different versions of it. You can look at it in black and white. You can look at it uh, in full colored version. You can look at it in artist edition version. I think something like that would be really, really cool. Counting in font size, I like that. Well, I will say that's one of the reasons why I like to work digitally. That and the anybody that's worked with analog ink for any length of time will tell you the same thing. Trying to make any kind of corrections, editing, anything like that is much more of a pain in the neck. Um, it's not hard to come in with the eraser tool, and kill whole parts of it and redo them brand new because they would have been the first time had I not blown it. No problem. Uh, Doing that with analog work, that's another story altogether. Pardon me, thirsty from my breakfast. Sorry, I got real quiet. Sometimes I get in the zone. I'm like, oh yeah, there's people watching. Talking and drawing at the same time is an art form unto itself. No kidding, man. I can do it, but the artwork sort of suffers for it. I'm looking at look at my monitor here. You guys can't really get a very good look at what I've got going on anyway. Should at least hold this sucker up every now and again, right? Lets me get a look at it better too. Sometimes I hold up the monitor, I can see a lot better than I can. Going a little darker on some of that stuff on the leg, it looks like. Get a smoother blend. My dog's all looking at me like, who are you talking to? Hi, Marvin. All right, let's see if that gives us a little more of what we're looking for. Yeah, seeing a little more of a transition from light to gray to darker gray to black. What I'm looking for there. I don't know. I've been thinking about future projects down the road, and kinds of things I'm going to be working on. And I find myself looking more at the idea of worried about how it's going to be presented. I don't want to appear, I don't know enough about color myself. I don't think to get it going on. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll experiment a little bit. Thinking about doing some like web comics or something like that, where I don't have to worry about how it's going to print so much. Um, Engage in some digital comics. Not as collectible that way, but I just can't foresee a market where people are going to be freaking out about my stuff. I don't think, not to say I don't have people that like my work, but I can't see a scenario where people are going to worry about the collectability aspect of it. I don't know. But I've been thinking more about how to be presented than I have about actual content at this stage. I think I'm going to stick with black and white just because that's what I know, that's what I prefer. And I think I want to do more experimentation with gray tones and things like that, include studio paint, since that gives me a lot of flexibility. And then maybe I can work out some sort of print on demand sort of thing, or give people a file and then they can print it. I don't know. I'm thinking of different ideas so I can give people lots of variety and simplify the delivery process. And also, if I can do it all here under my control, I prefer it that way. I don't really want to have to trust anybody to color it a certain way or whatever. The more people you bring in, the more people you have to cut in. And then that means you have to make a certain amount of money to cut those people in, and then that's cost that gets passed along to the fans. And some of these early efforts, I don't know if it's something that needs all that. I think that's my favorite part about small press, independent comics type of territory is the freedom to do it the way you want to do it. It helps if I talk when I'm doing stupid shit like chains. This is the sort of thing that inkers hire assistants for, right, Jason? Jason out there? He might be. He'll stop in a minute. Um, but yeah, interesting the things that you spot as you get older. I don't want to dig a hole. Maybe I'll just stop there and leave it cryptic. Sorry, my bad. Do people still say that? My bad. Have I ever done sequential pencils? Really interested in seeing you do an entire story, not just well. It's funny you should mention something like that, Dan. Um, I have done a little, just a tiny bit, and it's been a very long time. But it's something I'm interested in getting into. Um, why don't you write something for me? I would be interested in having you write and help me break down something, and then maybe do finishes or pencils out over layouts or something. I don't. We could absolutely talk about something like that. In fact, I have an idea that I hadn't. It hadn't occurred to me till just now. But somebody with your art style and your sensibilities, I think would really appreciate. I've got an idea that would be kind of cool. Anyway, we can talk. Um, let's see. Let me try and available to help with layouts. Yeah, yeah. I'm looking at throwing some stuff together, man. I've got a couple of ideas. I don't wanna tip my hand here live and and give anything away. Um, I have a superhero idea that I think might be kind of cool, but I think people are kind of fried out on superheroes. I was like, maybe I could figure out a way to restructure that idea. And I have another one. It's just like a straight up cartoon sort of thing, almost like uh, I don't know, has like an '80s sort of ET short circuit kind of vibe to it in my head. Very Spielberg esque, I guess you'd say. Featuring kids that look like Drew Barrymore and Macaulay Culkin used to. That's one of the cool things about comics is, just because people have died doesn't mean they can't be in my movie. We just don't call them that. Change them up enough to where we don't get sued. There you go. You want John Wayne? Well, maybe that's a bad example. Those guys are real vigilant, from what I've heard. They will sue you. And John Wayne Estate takes that very seriously. Yeah, now that would be cool. I've been meaning to sit and write. Um, I'm definitely gonna have to figure out a way to get that going on too. I don't really have the attention span to sit and write anymore. Um, so I've been thinking about breaking out my MP3 player and just going and talking to myself for a little while, and laying out the story idea in the garage or something, record it, and then put it on my computer, fucking speech to text style, and uh, change. I would never want to do the pit. Or Spawn, really, not for any length of time. Stuff like this is really tedious to me. Or if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it shorthand style, like Brett's doing it here, and then leave it up to an inker that will sit and figure it out, aka not me. Because, yeah, there's nothing like a few hours of doing crap like that to make you want to put a gun to your head. Sorry, kids, that's a joke. Parental discretion advised. That's right. I always make sure to check that box before I go online. No, this is not made for kids. Not that I'm going to get too crazy, but if I happen to lay a shit or a damn or, God forbid, the dreaded F bomb, sorry, my bad. I am not a role model. No change in Chuck's story. Yeah, that's probably best. I just wouldn't want to have to do panel after panel of it. Now, I do have digital things that I can cheat with. Like, fun fact, if you go and look at some of those time lapses I did of some of Rob's, well, maybe I didn't put that one up. It had a lot of nudity in it. There's some of those I didn't put up because Rob would go in with the nudity and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, dude, YouTube's gonna fry you on that. But yeah, there's one in particular where they're like sitting under a tree. If you, I don't think I posted the time lapse of it, but most of the background on that, the leaves and the vegetation and things like that are. I've got brushes to do those for me. Sit there and draw the plants and flowers and all this crap. I have brushes to do that. And I was like, man, great. I always say Clip Studio Paint, man. If you've got Clip Studio Paint and a tablet, you really don't need an assistant the way you used to for some of this stuff. Some of the stuff that I would normally have my assistant do, like, oh, go ink all these backgrounds back over here, brushes and stuff that'll lay all that stuff down for you, at least well enough sometimes. Even 3D models and things like that, which I know everybody's like, ooh, 3D models are forbidden. And I'm like, you know what? If people were using the 3D models right, you probably wouldn't know that they were 3D models. Uh, you know, it's like I've said to people, like, dude, the problem with it is people keep trying to use 3D models and things like that, and they try to use them as finished art, and they're not. That's your preliminary. You still have to go in there and finish that up, just like you do everything else from the sketch stage. And if you do that, it's much less likely, and people are much less likely to cry foul if they see it too. They're like, okay, this is just a framework of what they had, and then they came in here and did this. But it can't just look like some cheap trick you just dropped in there. That's what makes people mad, I think. How to do a short story for Rob's D and the J story, the D and the J book. I believe I may be being romanced into inking some of that. Rob's been talking to me a little about something that he's doing, some kind of superhero parody based on. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't talk about too much. He's here in the chat. He can talk about it if he wants. Mm, good God. Chains, chains. So we didn't get anybody that came and knocked on the door for Halloween at all. Again, like the same year, the same deal every year. I'm gonna stop buying candy. Just winds up with me getting fatter. Okay, that's not the idea. I'm supposed to give it away, but if no kids show up, I'm not. You know. I'm not just going to throw it out. I don't have that much willpower. The pattern on the sole of boots. See, I think stuff like that is totally legit to do 3D. I have a 3D model in Clip Studio Paint of a pair of boots specifically so that you don't have to sit there and draw boots. You can look at them from any angle and you can light them any way that you want. I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, you're here to read the story, right? You didn't show up to see how well I draw fucking boots, did you? Because if you did, I'm doing something wrong. Neil Adams used to trace cars and other things from photos. And like, why? Well, okay. Do you want to draw the White House? Everybody knows what the White House is supposed to look like. You know why? They've seen photos. So they're going to compare it to that. You're going to go to conventions for the rest of your life and hear shit from people about, no, the White House doesn't look like that. It looks like this. Ask anybody who's ever laid their hands on Star Wars or anything like, oh, no, the Millennium Falcon doesn't have gun turns down there. It's blah, 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 blah. You find yourself like, man, is that what you were worried about while I I don't know. I get it to some degree. Stuff bugs me too, but then there's other stuff where it's like, really? That slowed you down? Didn't take much. I don't know. Seen some pretty strange stuff in comics, though. There was one guy that had came up to me in the convention that his kids, uh, like one of the kids was named Clark and the other kid was named Bruce, you know, and he'd plucked the middle names or something, and he was talking to me. He was all into comics, and like the guy's like, I don't know, crazy into it. Obviously, you start naming children after comic book characters. That's a pretty dedicated fan. And although I don't knock that sort of thing in terms of being a fan, in terms of being a parent, I'm like, dude, it's your kid's name they gotta walk around with, you know? You name them something too weird, then you may as well just name them, well, let's see, unless you're rich and famous and you can afford private security, uh, something like Tallulah Bill and Rumor, for instance, the Bruce Willis kids and Danny. Like, why don't you just name your kid Kick My Ass? Because that's what the kids will do. What's your name? Kick My Ass. All right. You asked for it. Uh oh. They're back. I've already been on for an hour and a half. Yeah, I got to go too, Rob. So they just got back. They just rolled up. I can hear the garage door open. We're going to wrap up this week. I'm sorry. I meant to stay for longer. We didn't fit in as much stuff as I wanted to, but I was sitting here kind of in the zone looking at this, and you guys were like, I want to see it. So let's look over and see where we're at with it. Good chit chatting with you guys this morning. Hopefully, we'll be back to do this next Sunday. Hopefully, I can even surprise you guys with some live streams in the meantime. I appreciate it, Dan. But yeah, I'm going to keep whittling away on her. But I'm going to do it here on camera just because people dig seeing this. And I'm like kind of saving my on camera, saving my real on paper inking for when I got the thing on. So we'll keep rolling here. You guys take it easy. Thanks for coming out to see me. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.